Three powerhouse voices. She's Sweet Podcast, powered by Everesi Media.
We want to welcome you to the very first podcast with three powerhouse voices for the SFR and BTR industry. This is the She Sweet Podcast, the very first of its kind for this industry, and we are so happy that you are joining us today because we have a lot to say.
I'm so glad to be with you. So obviously we all know each other. Stacy, of course, right? I just want to say that I'm really honored to be with us together, like we met and like we bonded, over these conferences and things like that. And we immediately clicked. But yeah, this podcast is going to allow us to just speak our minds and say things that people think, but they don't say out loud. How did I meet you, Tonya? How did we connect?
Yeah, so we met after one of the NRHC conferences, or during it actually, speaking of the women in SFR, that the cool organization that's a part of the NRHC, which is amazing. But we met there. I think that's where all three of us met, actually.
Yep.
And realized we had all three been in the industry for a hot minute and worn some different hats and, had some similarities in our personal lives and our age and stuff like that. And then it was just like an immediate, I felt like I'd known you guys for 10 years when I left there. I feel like the older we get, it's like, I know for me, you just kind of, you don't want to keep people around that don't do, that don't add, or that aren't value adds. Like I immediately felt like both of you guys were like value adds to my life, like personally and professionally. So the fact that, this has come to fruition in this podcast is amazing. And I agree, reiterate what Stacy and Mendy both said. I am humbled, honored to be a part of it with these two women and to just share some of our experiences, like where we're going, have some other amazing female guests on here. We won't leave our men out, I promise, but we're excited to.
They're a part of our journey.
Yeah.
And a lot of them are champions for our journey. And I definitely want to highlight that in our podcast.
We want to bring in the real men, though, that kind of speak the truth, that aren't scared to speak the truth because of what the other people are thinking, right?
That's right.
So back to you guys, though. So I worked with Mendy before at a prior company. But when I went to these conferences, that was kind of one of the first of my experiences out there, going to this room and this environment. I can tell you that I was so glad to meet you and have you as a person around me, a safe space.
Yes, I felt the same way.
Space. I felt more confident having you ladies by my side. It was really, it was cool.
Yeah, it's definitely the thing I love about the conferences and having what we're now friends, but having colleagues and friends that you can support each other, kind of ride the coattails of the other when one's kind of feeling not up to par. You've got the other one to cheer them on. If you're talking on a panel and you're terrified, which I've definitely been in that space, and I know Stacy and Tonya, you have too. It's good to have kind of your cheerleading squad there to support you, and that's really what the core of this is supporting each other, being each other's champion, and really the best part is just making friends.
And we always go back to character, right? How people have to have character. We're looking and we're watching all of these people behave the way that they do, and we're just sitting here going, why aren't you just good? Why can't you just be good?
That's a great long-term strategy.
I know.
Being ethical, being good.
Yeah.
I just think this industry has been so enriching to my life. All of my friends are from this industry, and also the REO industry. That back in 2008 is when I discovered that industry. I was building custom homes before the market crash, and then I discovered a whole new world I didn't even know existed. But the best part of that is, along my journey, I have made so many friends, and what's wonderful about having friends in the industry is you've got plenty of things to talk about. You never have run out of things to talk about. because you have so much in common.
I guess I started in this industry in 2009. My first conference was a NARPM conference. Shout out to NARPM. So NARPM is mainly like the mom and pops, third party property management. When I started in this, I couldn't have even told you what a property manager was. If we just want to be like brutally honest, it took, I'm like, so wait. And even though I had a rental property, it was something I didn't go through a property management company. It was a home that we lived in, and then we moved to another state and then kept it because of the market in 2008. The learning curve there was a little bit longer than normal for me, but the women, to your point, that I met, and there was very few of us at first, when you would go to these conferences or you would call on, a large property management company. But they've really, those, like I think of Jen Stoops, Monica Gilroy, Dee Dee Lee, like they kind of paved if it weren't for them, opening and being welcoming to me, we were all kind of in it at the same time, around the same age. And just like you guys, I would look forward to going to the conferences and hearing about what's going on in their personal lives, but then hearing about what's going on in their professional lives. What are they doing now? They've all pivoted just like we have, but my favorite part of it related to this are the women. You've got your Jackie Lees, your Yvonne's, your, all these people that are amazing that are within that world. And you guys, and so it's, I don't know, it's really cool that we've all been there too, for all you new women coming in, walking up to the table, you don't know anybody, you're like, can I sit here?
We were talking about where we're from and where we started out and our journey and our, things like that. I would be interested to know, and when Yvonne made it, when she thought she made it, right? When you got over all the things that, beginner, people in these conferences and these big spaces, stuff like that, when they arrived, right?
Right.
I come from the contractor side. Obviously, ladies know the story. My family had a construction company for 84 years. I'm more on that side. I have a lot of compassion to all of our contractors, vendors, right, in the field and things like that. So there's, my connection.
Your empathy for contractors is very evident in your actions and in your behavior and in your words. It's woven into the fabric of who you are, how appreciative they are of that. And they definitely do need a voice, because they are on the front lines of this business on the field side. And woven into the fabric of all of those companies and on the client side and the operator side is women on the front lines. And what better to have women to help fulfill those C-suite roles that are so sought after. But as far as from an industry standpoint, there's plenty of women in support staff, on front lines, maybe in middle management, but there's maybe 9% in C-suite roles throughout this industry. So it's important for us to pave a way, make a runway for those women who already are very well educated, because they've been sitting in all the seats, wearing all the hats on those front lines, to have opportunities for C-suite positions. And to do that, they need mentors, both men and women, to support them in that journey, in that role. One, give them an opportunity for the role. Two, once they're in it, okay, here's your full buffet support system to get you comfortable with this role and to help you lead efficiently and lead brilliantly. And then after that, it's okay, let's pay it forward and help others. I think that's what this is all about.
When you think about when we were first starting out, say someone who's a female that's brand new, right? Maybe they're our age, maybe they're 20 years younger, but they're just coming into the industry. What is something, this is one of the things I think about sometimes, what was something that was intimidating to you, in the beginning, or something that scared you, it could be as a female, it could just be as a, holding the position you had. But I think when I think about that, I remember the first time I had to give stand up, and the room was filled with people, and then all of a sudden I had to stand up and give this big presentation, and I wasn't prepared. I didn't know what I was going to say, so I just tried to make it funny, and I gave away a couple of gift cards to people that would answer my question.
You thought you were unprepared. They looked at you as genuine and authentic and relatable. What you think is not, you know what I mean? What you were worried about going in there is not what everybody else is seeing.
We're our own worst enemy, though. I mean, I remember when I was on a panel in Miami, IMN, my first panel with Jackie Lee. She was so wonderful and supportive. But all I could get I could not get the thought out of my head that if you say the wrong thing, it could be a career-ending injury. I could not get that out of my head. And not to mention, the C-suite of my company was in the back of the room videotaping, which added more pressure. And I just thought I was going to die. I wanted to die. I was like, I do not want to be here. But it was absolutely terrifying. But that was a perfect example of where another woman came up alongside of me, Jackie Lee. Love her till the day I die and past that. But she absolutely, just her presence was so calming. She was just so calm. She just spit out what she's an industry leader. She knows what she's talking about. She knows her stuff. And just being in her presence really helped me. And I will never forget that. And that's what we do for each other in this industry.
With saying what we need to say without worrying about what people are thinking. We sit there and we say how it is. We have to be like that more often and not worry if they're thinking we look bad or walk into a room and you know what I mean? Like, who cares, right?
Yes, that was a perfect example of your directness. I heard so much incredible feedback. People were refreshed. They want to hear the truth. They want you to tell it like it is.
Again, to Mendy's point, we are our own worst enemy, right? We beat ourselves up. And I have heard nothing but very good, very positive. If anything, it did this for you.
Yeah.
Not this for you.
As scary as it was, if you were to know me like 20 years ago, I was not like that. We won't even start to get into the where we became, where we were, reasons for why we are today. We don't even need to go into that today. But I can tell you, I was not this person. It took a lot of hard work and knowing that I do know what I'm talking about, right?
Well, we love who you are today. We love you.
I mean, seriously, it's a good thing, all of us together, really.
Yes, I think it is too.
Well, one thing I've learned in the last few years for sure is, to your point earlier, Mendy, we are kind of taught to, have a certain image and have it all together, right? And when you start opening your mouth and sharing your struggles or your vulnerabilities or your fears, because we all know it all comes from fear. That's that's where it all comes from, right? And we all have some, even no matter how much we try to hide it. But take away all of the fears, all of the, fear of vulnerability, fear of messing up, all of that. Like in the last couple of years, if there's one or two things I've learned, that's the first one. And it's, if you can open your mouth and share those things, there's always somebody on the receiving end. I swear, every single time, that is so grateful to hear it. We're so scared to look bad or not be perfect, but it's so healing and powerful for us as an individual. I feel like that's one of the reasons I've gotten stronger. And your I don't give a blanket meter starts to come out, because you start to open your mouth and share what's really going on in your struggles. And it's powerful for the people that hear it, but it's so powerful for you. There's so much like revelation there, and independence and confidence building and all those things. And I would love to hear too, what other, like, if you're out there, if you watch this and there's a topic you want to talk about, like, let us know, whether it's career, personal, health related, relationship related, like, throw it out there.
One of us.
We'll see if we can tackle it.
What's not good for you or the organization you're working in, or maybe there's a coworker and there's some issues. If you stay true to yourself, if you stay good and
Mhm.
stand in your goodness. The bad will wash away.
Do you think that the people that have also bad character, they don't see the people that have bad character?
I think too, when you're in that place, you're lying to yourself about yourself.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
know, I think most people that are not that they're flawed in their character to their core, but they're behaving with characteristics that are not good, right? And that's what's
Yeah.
showing. But I generally think, in my experience, those people are lying to themselves in order to justify what they're doing. And, you know, whether that's a little bit of narcissism or just fear, whatever it is, I think sometimes they're lying so they don't see themselves as that bad character.
And there will be bad characters in this. I mean, that's the world we live in. A lot of times, that's they're going to be here and there in our organizations, and it's just something that you have to deal with from time to time. But if you just keep doing the right thing, it's going to be fine.
The three of us have all experienced major life changes with work, with family, with relationships, with kids, with careers, everything like that. And we're not jaded.
Right. You get the aha moment afterward. Oh,
That's the green light. Have you guys read Matthew McConaughey's book or listened to it?
No.
If you haven't, it's called Green Lights, and if you listen to it on Audible, it's fantastic. But read that, and we'll get back to that next time, because he talks about the things that it's almost like some of the struggles, or you don't know why this is happening, and then later, to your point earlier, Mendy, you look back and you're like, oh, green light.
Because none of the things that have really truly enriched my life were easy. And it's hard to embrace the hard times, because I think if we all live long enough, we've been through some hard times, experience loss, adversaries in our life. But I have to say, the hard stuff is where I got the most learning and enrichment in my life.
Do you think that all of those troublesome times that were very hard were things that we weren't supposed to be focusing on? I'm experiencing something now. Okay. Yeah. I'm experiencing something now where it's just kind of like, if there's a fight, it's a fight. It isn't going, that's not the way I'm supposed to be going.
Right. And sometimes, I say sometimes, all the time, you simply have to just put it down. But it's so hard to put it down. Something that you think maybe is meant for you, but it's not. But part of learning that is the process of learning it.
And it goes back to the lying to yourself about yourself. Sometimes when you yourself are in something, whether it's a job or a relationship, that at your core is probably not the best for you. Mm-hmm. But you keep trying. You spend so much time, energy, effort trying to make it work for all of these other reasons you feel like it's supposed to work, rather than just letting it go, quitting the job, stepping back from the relationship. The reason is because it's hard as hell to do.
Fear, Tonya, that you mentioned in the beginning, we're all afraid of fear of failure, fear of, what I mean?
Yeah.
Right. And so you keep having, and I don't know.
Just keep going.
I could just keep going and beating it to death when really, you don't win an award at the end if you're sitting there struggling with things.
We're fixers. We're conditioned that way because, my goodness, especially if you had kids or been married or have a family to take care of. I mean, you've got to take care of everything and you got to fix it. And we're wired to not put things down because no, I can fix this. I'm supposed to fix this. This is my life because I'm supposed to fix it. But sometimes the best thing you can do is self-care and just put it down. But we all know that things work out the way they're supposed to. And maybe that person or that thing or that situation is on a journey that we're not supposed to be a part of.
We'll have to have a whole podcast on relationships.
Oh my gosh, yes.
we have to.
You know what? We can give better advice than what we take ourselves.
Oh, 100%.
And we can give each other advice.
Something great that
advice. That would be real.
Well, I know, Tonya, you had mentioned earlier about what scares you. Woman, I bet you that we can talk a lot about what scares us. I mean, when I walk into a room, either at a conference or a really important meeting and I have any perception of a person being really important, I have a really hard time. I really have a hard time. And I have to remind myself that I got up this morning, brushed my teeth, got dressed, same as this person did. I have a lot to offer, valuable input in this conversation. And just because I perceive this person as being really important and I don't want to mess up what I say, I really need to figure out a way to unscrew my mind because what we have to say is important.
It takes intention, you know, you have to tell yourself, like, we are all people, and the more highfalutin people you meet and associate with, you know that. I heard Oprah Winfrey say one day when she first, started out, so this is years and years and years ago, she started her show and she was having Sidney Poitier on for the first time.
Wow.
Right. And so she was so excited to meet him. And she said, I had just kind of dreaded it and had so much anxiety, she almost dreaded it. And she said someone told her Sidney Poitier, he poops too.
I love it.
He said, ever since then, I was like, anytime she had a guest, especially starting out, like she would think of that in her head, like they're just a person. They were a baby. They're like an animal, All right, y'all, we're going to wrap today. I think next time, we're going to start off talking a little bit about fear, some of our fears. So if you have anything you want to hear about or something that you're dreading or gives you anxiety, throw it in the chat, throw a message out there. Let's tackle it.